talking about. I love talking about reading a lot. It's a guilty pleasure for me. And before we start, I just want you to put in the chat where you're joining from. It's always lovely to know where you are from the UK, the part of the UK, or if you are joining us from outside the UK. I'm joining from Watford, Hertfordshire, so it'll be lovely to know where you're joining in from today. And we're going to start off as soon as possible. Anyone? Hello, Bimi from Kent, Philippa from Fulham, thank you. Jennifer from Blackheath, London. Lovely to have iPhone, London, UK. Fola from Abbeywood, France, Francis from London as well. Oluwatosin from Knebworth, Hertfordshire. Hello, and thank you for telling me where you're joining in from. So I'm going to, and Ade from Richmond, welcome to our September webinar on reading. I'm going to start off as soon as possible because we have quite a few things to get through today, and I would like us to have a bit of question and answer time as well. So as I said earlier, welcome to our September webinar on reading, learning to read, how to start your child's reading from an early age. The structure today is going to be around 30 to 35 minutes of presentation, and then we have 20 to 25 minutes for Q&A. If you have any question during the presentation, please pop it into the chat and I will answer it as we go along or at the end. If it's appropriate for me to just pause and answer the question once we're there. Great, thank you. Just going to check in the chat if you have any question before we start. Let me have a look. Nothing so far. Great. We're going to get right into it. So who am I? A way of introduction, I'm just going to introduce myself again. So today's webinar is for parents with children aged less than 5 years who want to build literacy skills in their child from an early age. And you're going to ask, why listen to me? I have worked in top-tier learning and development roles in retail, management, compliance, banking, and education sectors for the last 20 years. Also a child and teen education entrepreneur. And you might wonder, what does that mean? I love putting together programs for children's development, life skills. My kids are currently teen, well, one is preteen and one is a teenager already. But I love to do anything about children because I believe that they are the legacy for the next generation. And the more we impact them, the better our world will be. I'm also a certified reading specialist, and I love teaching children to read. My children learn to read from age 3. My son was 3.5. My daughter started like around 3, earlier than my son. I've built 4 educational platforms in the last 10 years. I need to update that. And these settings I've taught over now 800 children to read from scratch and move up 2-3 levels of reading within 6 to 12 weeks. And one of the things I love doing is working alongside parents to boost their child's reading, their maths and English, because any sustainable progress that we're going to make, we have to make sure that we carry parents along. We can't do anything without our parents, and it's a partnership with you. We successfully placed children in top grammar school and independent school as well. I'm a firm believer that every child can make progress in the right environment and with the right support. So as we go along to today's webinar, I'm going to refer to you a lot as parents. I'm going to refer to our children a lot because without you in partnership with whatever we do, or I'm going to talk to us about this evening, it's not going to work. So I'm a firm believer that in anything we do for children, we have to include the primary caregiver in our place, our parents, because that's only when it sticks for longer. So that's a little bit about myself. So what is reading? So let's go into it. I just want to get into, so what is reading? And reading is a skill or activity of getting information from written words. And that's what it is really. And it's from Cambridge Dictionary. That's where I got that meaning from. Reading is the skill or activity of getting information from written words. Because as adults, we take it for granted that read, but what is actually reading? So reading is a multifaceted process involving word recognition, comprehension, fluency, and motivation. It's actually making meaning from print, and it requires that we identify the words in print, which is word recognition. We construct an understanding from them, which is called comprehension, and coordinate identifying words and making meaning so that reading is automatic and accurate, an achievement called fluency. For us, the starting point is that process of word recognition. And that's where I'm going to really focus on how we teach our children to actually go through the process of word recognition. Because without word recognition, there can't be comprehension, there can't be understanding, and there can't be fluency. So it always starts from that process of word recognition. So today we concentrate on the process to support your child to learn to identify words in print, which is recognition, which will eventually lead to meaning. Some parents ask me, when you say symbol, what do you really mean? So it all starts from sound. How do I get my child to identify the word? Before the child can identify a word, they have to know the sound of the letters in that word. And those letters are symbol to our children. And once they're able to identify the sound, the symbol of those words, then it gives them meaning. So sound is the sound of the letters they hear. Symbol is how these sounds looks like. So like the letters, being able to form those letters. And then the meaning is the sound. Symbol on its own does nothing. But when you recognize that the sound in the word, for example, cat, the child can hear cat, be able to recognize the sound and the symbol in the word cat. The next step for them is actually the meaning, which is I know the word cat, but I know that that's a picture of a cat and that is an animal, and the sound that animal makes is or something. So it starts with the sound, it starts with the symbol, and it gives meaning to our children. So I will continually go back to the sound, the symbol, and the meaning. But for us, we start with the identification of words in print. How do we help our children to do that? So why learn to read, you might ask? Children want to learn to read to interact with print. There's such a beautiful world around them. They have to be able to interact with the things they see, not just verbally, physically, but they want to interact with the print in those books, to discover the world around them in books, to interact with the world around them, because everywhere you look, there are words written on the bus, on the bottle of water, in the book, the colorful books you see in the library. Everything we interact with is through print. So our children need to learn to read because we want them to interact with the world around them. It also supports learning of other subjects. So I had a parent yesterday, child is 7, and he's year 2, late autumn burn, but had a very delayed speech. And the child, now the speech has come out, but the child cannot read, which obviously at 7, it will impact English, it will impact math. So learning to read helps support learning of other subjects. Some people say, oh, but math is just about numbers. But yes, we have numbers hidden in words, especially for word problems, or even be able to understand the question itself to be able to answer that. And why learn to read? Confidence and a sense of well-being. Knowing how to read helps our children feel independent and have a sense of well-being and dignity. And that's what we want for our child. We don't want our children not to know how to do it because they can't interact with the print, they can't interact as the other friends or classmates are doing, and it just doesn't sit well. So it helps our children to have confidence and a sense of well-being and dignity with themselves. Okay, I'll give you an example how I started with my children. I started having kids probably early 30s, and trying to be vulnerable in my chat today. I've never said to anyone when I started having kids, early 30s. So I had friends that had started like mid 20s or early 20s. So of course they had older kids, probably around 7. And I just asked them when my son was around 3, okay, what do I do with my child? And so how did I start? I had the desire. I just wanted to know, first time mom, I always say this story. I just wanted my child I just wanted to know what to do with my child. And one of my friends said, oh, start with reading, teach him to read. I didn't know what to do, but I had the desire. I wanted something for my child. I was curious about what do I do with a 3-year-old? It's preschool. It's going to go to a nursery section of a primary school. So I wanted to do something different. And I asked questions around me. I asked my friends that had older kids. I didn't really have teacher friends, so they were just the ones that I could ask. And once one of them said to me, this is what I did, and this is what I'm doing with my child, and this is what we do. Our child is in year 2. This is how we started. Reading is priority. Do nothing else but reading. And I said, okay, great. And one of them said to me, I know a reading place where they can actually teach your child to read, because I didn't know how to teach my child to read. So I took action. So I had a desire. What do you really want for your child? I'm going to ask you that. Because once you're clear about what you want for your child, it helps you make a decision. The opportunity that we have now is that we have information available to us. But one thing I know we did well with our children when they were younger was I had a lot of time. We played a lot. I played a lot with them. We went to the park. We talked a lot. I think because it's something we do when it's your first child, we bought all the programs possible. We bought all the books possible. We played around things, so I spend a lot of time with my child, and I want you to do the same thing. I'm not saying you're not, but that time you spend talking to them goes a long way. So it's good to know do you have the desire? Are you curious about knowing what to do with your child? What question are you asking? Are you asking the right question? And doing something about the suggestions, your friends or whoever it is, or the information you're getting. It's very important, because time and convenience or money might deter us to do what we want to do for our child. But I believe that once there is a will and it's something we want and we really desire it, we will go further. So I ask you today, what do you want for your child? Are you curious enough to know? Are you asking the right questions? And are you going to take action from knowing what to do with your child? So now we're going to hear from one of our parents whose child is currently 4.5, started reception. And she's an example of a parent that had the desire, already had a desire. She was curious about what to do with her son. She asked question and then she did something about it. So I'm going to just let you hear from Ore, whose child completed the reading program before he started reception this September.
I think the impact for my son has been beyond reading. So just to focus on the reading aspect, he is done very, very well. So he's currently 4 and he started just after he turned 3, and he's already reading at a 5 to 7 year range, which is fantastic. He really, really grasped the concepts and he grasped them so quickly. And I'm incredibly happy because that's exactly what I wanted. It was at the point where his interest was being piqued, but I didn't have the tools, the capacity or the time to help him. And it was just perfect that Ant Learning came in to give him exactly what he needed. And just even outside of reading, he's so confident. He's very vocal because he can tell and he's proud of himself. And seeing his progress and seeing how much he's learning, he's so satisfied when he sees a long word or a really difficult word and he's able to read it or break it down. Overall, I think it's really, really tremendously helped him. He's years above where he should be, and that's really good for us. My name is Ore. I've got a son that started Ant Learning when he was 3, and he's been in the reading program now, for over a year. We were considering private tuition because we noticed that our son was very interested in his letters and he was trying to start forming words together. And we noticed that because we had taught him the names of the letters as opposed to the sounds of the letters. We were teaching him the names instead of the phonetics. He was struggling a little bit. So I'd started doing some research, but also because some of my friends had started doing for their older kids, I started looking in for my son as well. So I came across one of the videos from At Learning that was talking specifically about the mistakes that parents make in teaching their children the names of the letters as opposed to the phonetic sounds. And that's what piqued my interest. And then when I was comparing At Learning to another provider, I found that because it actually teaches the children the concept that they require to learn, as opposed to just guiding them to figure it out, I felt that was more suited for my son being young, younger than most kids who would be starting the program. The workbooks that are given to them when they come home from the Saturday sessions have been very, very good, because it breaks down for the parent or the carer, you know, how to go through the tasks with the children, and that's very helpful because of the different ways we've all been taught how to read or learn certain things. So that's been tremendous. I think second to that has been the Wednesday catch-up sessions. That's also been very useful, specifically for me, because then I've been able to see how the teachers go through these things with him as well. So I'm not just making this up by myself and deciding to teach him the way I deem fit or based on how I was taught, but I'm able to see how the tutor is teaching and teaching other students, and I'm able to pull from that when I'm doing the catch up of the revision sessions with him at home. So those two things have been very useful.
Great. Yeah. So I just wanted you to catch up on that. So she had the desire, she was curious about it, she asked questions, and she took action. So what are the components of what helps my child learn to read? So learning to hear is important for our children to be actually able to read. Sometimes I think when my kids was young as well, I wondered why the NHS always sends you a letter to get the hearing test done. And I didn't understand it until actually when I got into reading, because I thought, why are you sending me a letter? We did the test, but I just did it religiously because they told us to come and do it. But actually looking at it, I understand why some things are done by NHS, because learning to hear without your child hearing properly, reading and knowing the sounds can be challenging. Hearing has everything to do with learning to read. If a child has difficulty hearing the individual sound, which we call phonemes, of words or speech, he or she might experience some challenges in learning to read effectively, because they need to be able to hear the distinct sound of the alphabet for them to be able to put them together and then blend and read. So please, if you have younger children that haven't done the hearing test and you get these letters from your GP, don't miss it. It's very important. And you wonder, oh, my child can hear. Yes, they might hear us because sometimes our voices could be louder, but this hearing test picks things that we might not know about. And I'm not saying that your child has that, but it's always important to make sure that we've ruled out any difficulty with hearing from your child. So if your child is unable to hear the sound of your words, it might be challenging for them to hear the sounds of the alphabet. So please get it right. If you haven't done the hearing test, get that done. It's very important. So I'm going to go into practical tips to kickstart your child's reading. Number one, communicate with your child. I said earlier that we need to talk to our children, we need to play with them, we need to interact. And I know we do that, but it's actually, I'll use Ore as an example. I remember when I met our son, oh my God, is so cute, very small. And I was like, there's no way we're going to have him in class, because I just assumed that it was just over 3, very cute. He's too young to be in class. He's going to cry. Oh my God, I was blown away. But once he entered the class, he looked at the board, he was so excited, he sat down, he followed the instruction, but I could see that there was a lot of interaction from his parent. He was very inquisitive, he asked a lot of questions. So when we communicate with our children, it really goes a long way when they go outside and interact with the world around them. So you are their first teacher, you are their first role model. Please, please talk to your children as if they are your mates, because they really pick up on your the language, they pick up on your body language, they pick up even on the spoken words, the way you interact with the world. So please communicate with your children. The second one is phonemic awareness. And this I will go into more detail. Synthetic phonics as well, I'll go into more details. And then motor skills and handwriting development. So these are the 4 ways you can help kickstart your child's reading. We sometimes have children that are able to read, however, their motor skills or handwriting is second to none. They cannot hold a pen. And sometimes in school, no matter how good your child is in reading, they're going to keep them at that reading level just because they are not able to form their letters or write properly. So as we're learning to read, our programs involve learning to read and write at the same time. This goes together. So as I said, communicate. We're going to go into more details with the first one. Communicate with your child. Speak to your child. Interact with your little ones. Play. Have conversations. Have fun. Go to the park. Play center. Parties. Whatever you want to do as a family, make sure you're continually talking and communicating with your child. It goes a long way. It develops their minds. It just helps improve their vocabulary as well. So I'm going to go on to the next component, phonemic awareness. So phonemic awareness is the ability to hear, identify, and work with the phonemes. Remember, I'm not talking about teaching our children the letters. We do not want to teach them the letters. Some people saw my hands about stop teaching your children the letters. And there was a lot of buzz around it. Like, wow, we learned that way. Why are you saying that? I know we learn differently. However, to make it quicker and faster for your child when they're trying to learn to read, learning the sounds is the easiest way, because if they know the letters, we have to unlearn it. They have to unlearn that first, because once you show them a picture of A, which is A to our parent, the first thing they say is A. They can't read with A. They need to read with A, the sound of the letters, because by then, and they need to know the sounds of the letters. So phonemes are the smallest units of sounds that work together to make up words. To a parent, they look like a letter, but to our children, they are actually phonemes, they're sounds. So please, if you want to do anything, the greatest things you can do, teach your child the sounds of the letters. My son did not know. My son knew the letters when we started, and it took us a bit longer, but my daughters did not know the letters. And she didn't need to know the letters until she was in year 2. She could spell. Her spelling was 100%. She used the sounds to spell. So parents wonder, oh, when they get to year 1, year 2, how would they do their spelling test? They just need to know the sound, hear the word, and use the phonemes of the sound to write. So don't worry about it. We've seen children that did not know their letters even until year 2. So they don't need to know the letters. Once they know the sound, they know the sounds the letter makes is automatic. So how do you develop phonemic awareness in your child? As you're reading, make sure you point to the text. You know, the lovely reading time you have with your child at home. When you're reading, just put your finger under the text and just use that to point to it. Because they are young, most of the books they have are quite big. So they're picture books and have few words. So those words, just use your finger to either point to it as you're reading and drag the sound. Please, if you're not sure about the sounds of a word, we are adults, we know the word, so you can say the word to yourself. So bat, you can see that B is B, the B is B, so that you don't say B. You don't want to add an extra or sound to the sound. So this helps, pointing to the text helps your child develop print awareness. There is focus and more emphasis on the word. So as you point, their eyes is focused on the book. It also helps your child pay more attention to the words as you read. Some parents, then they cram the words. Don't worry about that. As they grow and you change the books, repetition helps. The child might pick the same book all over again. There's nothing wrong with that. It helps them build the vocabulary of those books. So don't worry about that. But as you're reading, point to the text. Pick random words in the text, pick random words and segment, stretch it smoothly. So for example, if you say, that's a red bag, I can say, that's a red bag. So red Read back. You know, you're trying to identify the individual sounds in the word read, and you're dragging it at the same time. This helps your child identify sounds in words, the position of these sounds in words, and how they can put it together to blend. So pick random words in your speech during the day as you go about the day in anything in the house. I think mine started with Carex. In the bathroom, you have this Carex hand wash. So I think he came back from one of the Saturday sessions and he was trying to read Carex. And I was fascinated because that's like a 5-letter word. And it was like R-X, Carex. He couldn't pronounce the last 3 sounds, but the car part of it, he was able to do. So it's important that as you go along during your day, you stretch out these words. So I'm going to talk about synthetic phonics. This is about teaching children the simple concept that the symbols of the alphabet they see represent sounds, and teaching them the ability to connect these sounds together to form the words they hear. So in essence, you're teaching your child to convert symbols. Remember, I said symbols to you are letters, to sound through effective decoding strategies without the forced memorization of entire word. We do not want our children memorizing words, because how many words can they actually memorize? But we want to empower them with the skill of knowing the sounds and then blending this together. As they progress, they will then know that 2 letters, which is to you is a symbol, like for example, CH is 2 letters, but they make 1 sound, but we don't want to start with that yet. We want to start them with the individual sounds as they are learning. Remember, we're talking to children, parents of children younger than 5. So your child might know how to do 3 to 4 letter word, that's great, or they are just learning that at the moment. So if you want to build a fluent phonetic reader, please, synthetic phonics is the way forward. So now I talk about the fine motor skills and handwriting. I know we don't want to get them on our walls, but please give your child a pen. It could be it could be the whiteboard pens. If you have a whiteboard at home, let them scribble. Give them something to do, to color. As young as 1, obviously, for that age, you have to monitor it so that they don't hurt themselves. But please let them hold a pencil, scribble and draw, drawing and tracing crosses, circles, helping themselves, feeding themselves, all help build the motor skills that they need when they're trying to write. I remember when my son was young, it's quicker to feed him, but he wanted to feed himself because at nursery, they feed themselves, right? But at home, we don't want to mess. Please let them make the mess. Put the rubbers on the floor, whatever it is, and let them feed themselves, because all of this helps develop their motor skills. Picking up cherries from the table to the bowl and vice versa, if you have rice, but just make sure you're around. But cherries is easy because they can end up in their mouth, that's okay. So you put cherries on your table, they pick it, put it in a bowl, from the bowl to the table. All of this. Racers with tweezers, obviously under supervision. If you want them to also learn using the scissors, this will help build their motor skills. Lego building, blocks, puzzles under supervision, Play-Doh and sculpturing all help your child's fine motor skills and handwriting. Painting, finger brushing, everything. Watercoloring game with eyedropper. The ladies have eyedroppers for our serum. You can finish one of them and just put water or anything in it. And it just helps your child develop their fine motor skill, because they need that pinch pull when they're writing. Gardening, planting helps develop gross motor skills, and playing with sand as well. All of this helps them develop their gross motor skills. So we're going to hear from Sanj. Sanj came to us, I think 2 or 3 years ago. Our son is 7 now and joined the program, but all of this is just to give you different reiteration of the ways parents come to us and the progress they see when they start off with reading.
Hi, my name's Satch, and my son has been going to Ant Learning since he was 3.5. We enrolled him for the summer program, and the reason I did that was following kind of COVID. He was one of the children that unfortunately missed out on a good chunk of nursery stroke preschool. So for me, I felt that he needed to kind of fill the gap. So we actually came across Ant Learning through a friend as well, and she also enrolled her son at the same time, so it's kind of they both went at the same time. So he did the 3-week program, and he really enjoyed it. And we've actually carried on since. So since Ashwin started to go to Ant Learning, I have significantly seen an improvement in his reading. I was really amazed at 3.5. He, started to pick things up so quickly. And as soon as he then started I think it was 5+, he was reading fluently. And for somebody who was, he's always been quite confident, but probably not a confident reader. He was never one to sit down with a book. He was more practical, and he liked to do sort of practical learning. But since he's actually started with Ant Learning at 3.5, the improvement that I have seen is just immense. For your child to be reading in front of your eyes, going into school, and being able to do that, learning from someone who wasn't able to do anything because, like I said, during lockdown, he wasn't interested. He wasn't interested in learning. So I think it's really, really improve that concentration and that ability to be able to sit down and read a book. As a parent, it's education is important in our household, but at the same time, it's not pressurized. I go back to what I say at the beginning. He goes because he actually enjoys going to Ant Learning. It's not something that we forcefully done. If he did turn around and said that, there's so many other activities, so some of his friends go to football and things, and which, we try and do, because he does a lot of activities during the week. But that 2 hours of, Saturday morning focus that he gets, feel it really has benefited his learning and in his reading, in his comprehension. And he's able now to sit and do some of the homework by himself, which he was never able to do before, because he wasn't, he'd say to me, I'm not sure what I'm doing, or I'm not, he's now able to get that booklet, and then he's able to sit there and do his comprehension, or whatever the exercise might be for the week.
Yeah, so
everybody will be biased.
Oh, okay, great. So now we're going to go into the practical thing. So I'm going to divide it by age group now. So we're almost at the end of the presentation. So wherever your child falls within, you know what to do with your child. So I'd say, for example, my child is less than 2. What do I need to do to make sure that I'm laying the right foundation? Obviously, we can't take them less than 2. We want them to have the hugs and the cuddles from mom. So I would say talk, sing, and cuddle. You wonder, even from the womb, sing to your child, play music, dance and be happy, because once you are happy, that child coming out will one day come out and be very happy. Let your voice be the favorite sound your child hears. Dad, mom, aunties, they want to hear that. So if your child is less than 2, let there be music. Let them sing nursery rhymes. If you're on a school run or nursery run, put in that nursery rhyme. Let them hear the different sounds, words, and singing can make. I will introduce them to fabric or board books and enjoy reading to your child. Remember what we said, as you're reading, point to the pictures, name what they see, so that your baby can soak this in your toddler. And later in the day, they're trying to wind down, spend that time reading, and let them watch your mouth, the way you say the words, the way you speak. Let them touch the books and feel, because at this age, they're very tactile. So it's very important that they can feel some of these fabric books and that you've got. Even if they're chewing on the book, it's okay. Repeat lullabies and rhymes, as this help them build phonemic awareness. I'll have a lot of face-to-face time, with your child. Talk to them, let them see the way your mouth is doing, your language, through your facial expression, and cuddle, hug, just enjoy being with that child as they're growing up. Because once your child is happy, they are open to learning. And I'll also say label, point, and play. At this point, your toddler is babbling, is trying to name things, their voice is coming out, hopefully less crying. I want to capitalize on this time. between 12 and 24 months is very important. Their brain is in language overdrive. The more words they hear and see, the stronger their vocabulary. During the summer, I had a child come, 3.5, almost 4, and he didn't want to leave his mom. And one of the things he said to mom that I really found intriguing, like funny, is like, "Mommy, I need you." And I was like, "What?" "Mommy, I need you." And I was like, "What?" Yes, his mom said, yeah, it's very expressive, that she is also very expressive. So obviously he copies, but he was very expressive, and the language and the words and the vocabulary he was using to describe how he felt, I was like so taken aback. So you want your child to help, you want them to build the vocabulary. Don't, as much as you're trying to reduce and break things down into simple English, their brain can take a lot of information. So try and expose them to repetition in language, in books, and make that time super interactive for them. If you go to the library, sometimes let them choose the library books with repetition, animals, sounds. Toddlers love this. So talk all day, name what they can see, read that same book over and over again. For us was it Dinosaur, or was it Hungry Caterpillar? Well, we read it over a lot of times. For my daughter, it was it wasn't Peppa Pig, I think it was Dora the Explorer. We read those books over and over and again. Match toys to book pictures, act out the story, and sing along all those nursery rhymes. Those tiny moments add up, and capture them with, with the time you spend with them. It goes a long way. And capture those things in videos as well when you can. So when they grow up, they can see and look back at that. So let's say now my child is between 2 to 3 years old. What do I do? Talk a lot, read more, and pretend play. It's now time to turn up the story time into full experience. At this age, they are soaking in 5 to 10 new words a day, and their brains are like little language sponges, and play is their superpower. I know sometimes in nursery, they do a lot of play. It's important, but there are many nurseries now that incorporate learning in the play. So they incorporate maths in the play they're doing, the count. There are many nurseries that incorporate the reading in their play. So if you're reading, for example, Hungry Caterpillar for the 50th time, ask questions, connect the stories to their day, and encourage pretend play so that they can spark that imagination in their minds. And you can use their favorite stuffed toy as well to make up stories. If it's a bear, I would ask open question, why do you think this bear is sad? You want that child to start interacting and answering the questions, and their comprehension and memory is building as well. And this is a great time to introduce sounds of the alphabet. You can have flashcards. You can show them a sound, letter A. I'm going to use letter for you as parent, but you could say it makes the A sound. And then when you pick things up at home, you can just say, oh, remember A sound? This is ant. So they can put sound, symbol, meaning. It helps them a lot to develop. So now your child is between 3 to 5 years old. My recommendation to you, remember, you're starting to learn the sounds from 2 to 3, or even earlier if you can do it. 3 to 5 years old, we want them to learn the sounds, we want them to learn to write, and we want them to learn to blend. And you have real talk, you start prepping them for big school. These are the times where social skills are also quite important, but we're going to focus now on reading. You want them to learn the sounds. Say the sounds, you can use flashcards, different things, learn to blend, they learn that, and then they write as they learn the sounds. So play games, Simon says, take 10 steps. They can do 10 steps, You want it to color a lot, you want them to do all of this, but you want to start giving them step-by-step instructions so that they can build on their listening skills and following instruction skills. So building strong readers and literacy skills starts, as I said, from the womb, onto your laps as a toddler and into the classroom. So one book, one rhyme, and one fun activity moment at a time. So you might say, my child can't focus much. Little and often is what we're asking you. We don't want you to do too much at one time, but make learning fun for your child. So how can Hand Learning help you? And how do we integrate all of this I've said to us to help your child learn to read? We teach our child using sound progression method. We use a step-by-step framework, which has made a huge impact in all the children that we've learned, and we're still counting. It's always a joy meeting a child. I mean, the best part of my work is I meet a child beginning of a term. They can't hold a pencil. They can't even know, they don't know the sounds. And in 12 weeks, you see a transformation. Or over 3 weeks of summer, you see them coming, they're not even ready for school. By the time they leave, you can see the big change. So we use a step-by-step instructional training, teaching for your children. We show you what to do. We don't hoard information. Some people say, oh, people will know how you do it. I want parents to know what we do, because if you don't know what we do, you can't really help your children at home. You see them more than we do. So we go through phonemic awareness, as I said to you, phonics, all the sounds and the letters, and then synthetic phonics. And this is how we go. We have different programs, excuse me, that we teach your child where they are. Some children from scratch, they don't know the sounds. We go through the beginner reading program where we teach the learn the sounds and then learn to blend. So children just know, they know the sounds, but they can't put it together. We have short programs for those children just to help consolidate that. And then we have children that are struggling with reading at school. Maybe they know the 3 to 4 letter words, but now they need support with teaching when two letters now make one sound, or that 2 letters now have 10 different variations of the sound. So how do you help them? So we help the children with advanced reading as well. And we do this on Saturday in the morning, 9 o'clock or 11:30 if you come to the center, or 90 minutes if you do this online. We teach the same program. If you're online, we send the materials to you. Or if you're at the center, we show you as well. You come in, the children are given the materials, and you have a homework structure during the week following that Saturday. And there's another touch point during the week on a Wednesday, because we want to hold your hands. We noticed, whenever I used to do it before, 3 years ago, we introduced the Wednesday session because I noticed that a lot of parents are busier with work, and we just wanted to make sure your children will do their own work. So we opened up a Wednesday session online where your child can just drop in and they join in the group. You might wonder, what will my child gain if they come to us? They begin reading if they come to us before starting school, or if they started school, we support their reading to make sure by in a term, your child is able to read 3 to 4 letter words. Or if they know what to do, but we move them a grade or 2 above their peers. They stop guessing if they're at that point. They gain the skills to become a remarkable reader. They comprehend text and spell words in a heartbeat. You wave goodbye to reading difficulties and underachievement in key subjects for those that are struggling with their reading, and we grow their vocabulary and read independently. One of the problems parents said that I'm learning cost is that my child can read my text messages because you taught them how to read at an early age. Anytime I get a message or something comes through the post, my child is reading that. That's a good problem to have. And we want them to be independent, but obviously it comes at a cost of teaching your child early to read, but that's a good problem to have. So just before I round off, I just want you to listen to Kelechi. Kelechi is she homeschools a child, but then she brought our daughter into us to support that key foundation in reading.
My daughter, everybody will be biased. So I would say she is phenomenal. I've been so impressed. She started off, as I mentioned before, I was trying to think how we can both learn and teach each other to read. I do read, but when you're teaching a child to read, you understand that there are step process. And as someone that's never home educated before, I really wanted to understand how we can go through the process of phonics. Phonics is not just one base or one stage. It has different stages. So she started off with identifying her sounds, and we tried that at home. And Ant Learning was really basic. It allows us to understand how to identify sounds. She did really well. And then we moved on to diagrams. And so she had to kind of get double sounds and start to identify how to pronounce both the sounds and identify the letters, which she did really well. And it came to the point then she was blending and sounding together. So as she was doing that, she was then able to understand herself how to blend words together. And then what we would do is that we would try and start using books to read and practice the blending of sounds. And she was picking up really quickly. I would say in about 6 weeks, my child was blending. And then she's now reading. She picks up a book, and her actual last, which is good for Ant, they do assessments. Her assessment identified her to be in the realm of 6 to 10-year-olds. So she's reading, she's just turned 5, so she was 4, and she's reading in the bracket of 6 to 10-year-olds. So my child can read her books herself. I'll give her something to pick up, and she would read long words and try and pronounce it with some support. And I would say it goes down to the coded book, which we have, which you practice blending. We have sound matching cards, which you have to keep practicing. So I had the responsibility to try and do that every day with her, and ensure that she kind of gets practicing. So in that also contributed to maths. So she really needed to start reading to really understand some of the instructions. And once she started to pick up things, maths became a lot easier. So now she's understanding the different shapes. She's understanding comprehension, complex maths questions. And then we have the homework, which we do online, which is provided by Ant as well. And then we have the Wednesday online group, which she jumps onto, and she's in the advanced stage. So as we speak in summer school, she's in 6+ class, and I am super, super impressed by her. Again, I don't say every parent is biased, but my child is phenomenal. So yeah, thank you.
Great. So yeah, that is one. Now she's 7, she's in year 3. And we're very proud that she's making great progress. She's still being homeschooled. So how do we achieve these outcomes? There's weekly live step-by-step phonics class that we do on Saturday, either online or at the center in Dartford, DA1 or Southgate. We provide you with the phonics books so that your child can follow through, and we tell you the pages to do. We don't want you to rush through because we don't expect your child to know what we haven't taught them. So we only tell you specific pages from those workbooks that they can practice their handwriting on as well. We provide you with games because learning must be fun for this age group so that they can enjoy at home and in the classroom. There are colorful reading storybooks that we recommend. Peter and Jane, I think we read it when we were younger, and those books are still good. So we recommend that to our children. You have access to your child's tutor either online or at the center so that there's feedback and you know what to do with your child at the end of the day and at the end of the week. We do offer an end-of-term assessment and a report so that we tell you at every point, this is our recommendation for the next level for your child. There's structured support during the week, and we also have an extra Wednesday session, which I think was a great idea, and that's helped a lot of children during the week. So at least parents can take Wednesday evening off and put their child in front of a computer because there's somebody there to support them. And this is how we achieve the outcomes that we've done and spoken to you about. As I said, center or online. And we also give our children this booklet bonus. So phonics games, fun to read stories, sound audio so that you actually know the sounds that the letter makes so that we're not making it up, so the child is learning accurately. And our code book, this is like a revision of all the reading levels that we offer so that your child can be reminded about the rules. You can read this in the car, you can read this anywhere. It's just an A5 booklet that you can take around with you anywhere you go. Quick, there's an investment to it. Nothing great comes cheap. So there's an investment to it, but it's an investment that is worth it for you. If you join online, we recommend you do the full academic year. That's £120 a month, or if you join at the center, it's £141 a month for 10 months, and that covers you till July next year. If you're interested, there is a one-off enrollment fee of £55. However, we want you to, in life, there's always 3 choices. Guess what? Do nothing, leave your child to keep guessing, or you do and help them. Hard work, you keep searching YouTube, Google, or anything that you think you can put together. Or you can help us, you can take action by using a proven framework that we've implemented with a lot of children and has worked for my children and a lot more children. And you can get your child reading in 12 weeks or less, or improve your child's reading performance if they're currently struggling. There is also a cost of no action. Nothing is free. Even when our parents took no action, it also cost them a lot of time and worrying lack of progress in their children, and then they leave it too late and they see a reduced confidence in their child. We don't want them. A child that is in year 1 must be able to read. Reception child must be able to read. You want their dignity and confidence to grow up and all that. So that brings me to the end of our presentation. I'll just read a few quotes that I've always loved to read. Once you learn to read, you will be forever free. To learn to read is to light a fire. Every syllable that is spelled out is a spark. Today a reader, tomorrow a leader. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation to you today. We would love for your child to join us. We'll pop into the chat how you can sign up as well. Shai, if you don't mind popping the link into the chat for us. And yes, if you do have questions, I know I've answered a few questions as we went along, but now is a time for us to answer questions on what to do. So yes, Ade, I'm just going to go through your question. My child is 8 and struggles to read. Yes, we do support children that are 8 and struggling to read. We can start off with an assessment. I will probably, Shai, do you have a link to the assessment? We can offer that. And we started with an assessment just to know where your child is, and then we can recommend they can join a group session where we'll be able to support your child at home or if they come to the center. And yes, they have an advantage of age. You can see the progress quickly once we show them the way to go about it. Because the program is step by step and it's progressive, it really helps the children to be able to catch on to it quickly, and you see progress in a short time. Online, it's an online group shown, as you asked in the chat, is online one-to-one or a group. It's a group session, and we keep the class to, I think, 6 to 8 with the teacher. We offer both. If it's one-to-one that you need, depending on the needs of your child, we offer one-to-one, but we also offer group session. One of the things I like about group session is the children learn from each other as well. I remember one of the sessions that I joined online, and one of them was saying, I'm tired today, I slept late. And the other child was like, oh, me too, but you know, it's a short time, we're going to learn now, and afterwards you can go and sleep or play. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, 4.5-year-old encouraging themselves without the teacher even having to say anything. So yeah, the group session is equally, it's the same impact as if your child is doing one-to-one. What's the recommended number of sessions to book for a start? And can you choose the reading training to be continuous? Yes, you can choose the reading training to be continuous. And the recommended number, depending on your child's age, for our group session is 12 weeks, which is a minimum of a term. That's the term. We need 12 weeks with your child for us to complete the level. Or if it's a beginner, they're starting from scratch. We teach them the sounds, and then we move on to then blending. So for them to be able to learn the sounds and blend, we need 12 weeks according to our program. If it's one-to-one, the minimum is 6 hours. So 6 hours booking, which you can do depending on the child's age. It could be a 45-minute session or an hour session. Where is the center located? I think my colleague has answered that. Dartford DA1, 4RS, or Southgate N14. We can offer a free assessment as well. Francis said, Lara spoke about 12 weeks. Does that mean I can pay for 4 months start instead of 12? Yes, you can pay termly if you want to commit to just the 12 weeks. Yes, you can pay termly. Fola, do you mind just putting the cost of the term in the chat so that we can answer that question? Is the training online? As I said, it's both online at the center. I have twins. Is there a discount for siblings? Yes, Kemi, there is a sibling discount. For siblings, they do get a 5% off the second sibling as well, and they get their own individual books and materials as well. So is the enrollment fee with a total fee? The enrollment fee is a one-off fee. It's a one-off fee. If your child stays to us until 11, that's what we want. You don't have to pay it again. Philippa said, I signed up for an online taster. From listening to you, it sounds like the in-person session might be more beneficial, especially for children at my son's age. From your experience, the children tend to get more out of the in-person sessions compared to online? Philippa, I don't think so. It depends. So online, because your child is 3, we need you there, because your 3-year-old can decide to stand up and leave. And we don't want that. So we need an adult present with them. And the benefit of that is you get to see everything the teacher is doing. You can do the same at home. During COVID, I had a child joined us first time when we all went online. She is currently in year 5 now. And yeah, year 5 from this September. And we taught her to read. And she did it in 12 weeks. So we see the same result because we follow the same teaching plan. We follow the same materials step by step as online and the center. But you know your child best. If you think your child, you don't want you to be there when your child is learning, that's fine, you can bring them in, but it's the same outcome irrespective, because we follow the same structure, the same homework structure for that. Can we have the cost for all the subscription, please? Yes, I'm just going to put that in the chat. I think we copied it before. I'm going to copy and put that in. That would give you an idea of any question? Just reading through.
Yeah, sorry, Lara. I just wanted to suggest that if it's possible to design a flyer of the most important part of this information, especially the cost part. So sort of something that where I'm speaking for myself now, maybe that's for me, that I can see everything on a flyer and I can be able to choose which one I want, like, this termly fee, one-off fee, and, all of this fee kind of, it's just a suggestion anyway.
Who is speaking so that I can respond to you?
Oh, this Francis, Ola Francis.
Francis, okay, that's fine, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a link. When you click the link, it actually tells you, actually, I get your point, I understand, thank you. We'll get down. Fola, please take note. And then we can send that to you. Thank you, Francis. Jennifer said, if your child is 3 years and is engaging with speech and language therapists, can they join hands and stay learning how to read? Yes, they can. And one of the things that does is your child is learning how to articulate the sounds and open the mouth so that the words can come in. One of the things we do in class is the way we work. The child, they all have a, what's it called? A whiteboard, and they also have their own pen because they emulate everything the teacher is doing. And they get a chance to say everything the teacher is saying. So when they take their turns, your child is encouraged to speak, and they see the others trying to say the same thing. Most of the time we see tremendous progress when children are in that kind of group, that we encourage them to participate, is engaging, the words do come out. So yes, your child, even though they're engaging with speech and language therapists, they can help. The reading program we follow actually was initially designed for children that had delayed speech, a bit of special education needs, because it's a progressive kind of teaching. We teach them the way the sounds, like 1, 2, 3, that's the way we teach them. So it's easier for their brains to actually understand. Just go and go through the chats again. Price plan. Fola, do you mind sharing the price plan as well? Thank you. We can share the price summary on email. Actually, we'll probably include in this price summary. You will get an email after the webinar so that any information you need. So it's important you want the price plan, we can send that in. All that you said, I would have preferred to be at the center. You're 12 hours away by train now. We can't get you to travel that day. Your daughter will be 3 in February. That's okay. At the moment, we said to you what you can do between now 2 to 3. Please start doing that. Teach them the sounds and not the letters of the alphabet. And whenever you want to join, you can have a free taster online and see if that works for you. Ola, what you mentioned, they're also included in the price plan. I think we'll just send it to everyone that registered for the webinar. Just looking through the chat to see if there's any question. How do you book the free taster? Okay. We'll put it in the chat for you. I've put it in. You can have a look and you can book in through that. Thank you. Let me see there. Any questions, please? I would love to answer any specific question that you have. I'm just looking through the chat as well. Philippa said, if after the first month I found that an in-person session would be better, yes, you can. And one of the good things about having both sessions online or center is sometimes people at the center would tell us they're going away or they can't come that particular day. We provide them with a link to join online. So if after the first month is not working, there's a slight price difference for the center. We could just adjust that. But yes, you can switch at any point. If you come to the center and it's no more convenient because you can't drive through, you can always join online as well. Yes, we will share the recording. It will not be tonight, but yes, we will share the recording, and it's also going to be on our website as well. Okay, I don't want to take, let me have a final look through the chat. I don't want to miss anybody's question, but thank you for spending your Wednesday evening with me. Please carry on talking to your children, playing with them, and just doing everything that will help them learn the sounds. Reading opens up the world to your child. It could be through print, it could be interaction with all of these things. So it's a very important skill to develop in our children. Thank you, Shaun. Thank you for joining. And yes, we come to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much for spending your Wednesday evening with me. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Cam. Bye for now. Oluwatoyin, please, will the online be very important? It will be. You can bank on that because the center is a 3-hour distance for you. Yeah, we don't want you driving 3 hours. No, online works as well. Ade, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback. Thank you, Yinka. Olariwaju, good night. Have a wonderful night. And hopefully we see your child join us too soon. Thank you, Francis. Thank you for your feedback as well. Philippa, lovely speaking to you. Thank you. Oh, amazing. Oluwatoyin, thank you as well.
Good night, bye-bye. Did it?
Okay, good night. Hey. Bye. Thank you, Jennifer. Have a good evening and a good night.